that being said, you know, we've been covering it for weeks. We're getting closer and closer each week. The NBA return to play. Everything's pretty much set in motion when it comes to the bubble city. We're still getting details out, but with that being said, I'm giving you the floor. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, to start off, I don't know. Did we talk on here last week about the ring that they're talking about having that can I think they said detect if you're gonna have the virus earlier than expected.
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, so that's a rumor that's going around. I think some pictures actually been leaked on it. So essentially, they have a ring that I think they said it's not going to track players' whereabouts, and the players are kind of free to do what they want. But the ring is supposedly be able to track if you get the virus before you kind of get the virus, which is kind of weird to think about, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like there's even like a setting on the iPhones now where they share information through Bluetooth, not personal information, but like information, as far as like whether or not you might have come into somebody who's been in contact with somebody who's had COVID or dealt with it before. So I think these rings are kind of along the lines of that. They're also definitely a precaution for these. They're using them for multiple purposes, as like room keys. I believe like even to get into the gyms over there and stuff like that. And then the tracking, it's a tracking device. So, it's a way of making sure that these guys stay on campus while all of this is going on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I'll get into some of the other stuff that I had seen on here. Keith Smith from I believe he works at Yahoo.com. Excuse me if I'm wrong about that, but it says Yahoo.com in his bio. He was on here talking, just going into more details about I think it was in that what they say 150-page paper that it came out to the players about just the whole bubble city and what's going on. Some of the stuff we didn't talk about that's on here. They said teams will be able to bring in outside entertainment will be brought in by Disney. He said there should be DJs and bands and comedians to be able to come in. They also talked about players. I'm just gonna sum up all the tweets real fast so we don't have to go through them because he has a long thread if you guys want to go check it out. But they said there also be a Disney who also runs Marvel will be showing movies like the Marvel's Black Widow movies that haven't been out yet and stuff like that. They're gonna have movie entertainment for players and their family when they're able to come in. Also, they're gonna have personal chefs prepared by Disney, but the teams and players can bring their own private chefs if they need to. They said outside food orders will be very limited. Uh, they also told us about the courts. So the HP Fieldhouse will be the primary court where most games will be played. Then they have another court called the Arena, which would be the secondary court plus practice court. Then you have a Visa Center, which would technically be the third court plus the practice center. They said maybe only. They said that it may only be used for practice. So do you have anything to say about any of that so far?
Well, number one, I'm definitely jealous that they get Black Widow before we do.
I
Um,
definitely agree.
but I guess that comes with the perks of everything. I'm not really shocked by anything that he put out there in regards to how things are going to be operating and stuff like that. Can you just run back to me one more time how the practice courts were going to go?
So essentially, they have two practice courts. The arena is going to be used as a secondary court for games, plus a practice court. So I guess they'll juggle between games. When there's no games, they'll use it as a practice court. Then they have another arena called the Visa Center, which would be used as I guess, like a third court if need be. But they said it may only be used for practice.
Okay, so they're pretty much going to be playing the actual games in one specific spot.
Yeah, basically the field house would be the primary court where most games would be played. But I'm pretty sure with everything going on, all the teams there, they're going to have to maybe fit two games in at a time sometimes. So that's where the arena will come in as a secondary court if need be. And then that'll be used for practice courts. And then the Visa Center, I guess they're up in the air on technically what they're going to do with it right now, but they'll probably use that as 100% practice court. So teams can always practice.
I'm kind of interested to see how they're gonna work that out if they're just using the field house for the games because we're getting 8 regular season games before the postseason,
Yeah.
correct? So those like I would think that those would be put on the air like back to back to back. No, so like exactly how are we gonna work out that schedule with these 22 teams that are in there, and then also the playoffs when the playoffs start, and you're gonna have those games going on as well because at certain points, well, they haven't been specific about the playoff schedule, but me be watching the NBA for as long as I have, and anybody who knows the NBA well enough that's listening or watching the podcast now knows, there's certain points during the playoffs, especially early on, where there are two playoff games going on at the same time. So they've been kind of vague about how that's going to work out. So I'm kind of interested to see how that's going to go.
Yeah, definitely. Same. It's interesting to me. Like you said, we're gonna have 8 playoff games, and usually during the season, everyone plays their games around the same time, depending Central Time or Eastern Standard Time. But most games happen around the same time, kind of at night, like the 7 o'clock ish time. I'm gonna wonder how they're gonna fit all those games in. Like, do they start games at 5 o'clock? Maybe they start games at 4 o'clock, and they have them back to back to back. So even before the playoff, I think they kind of have to work out that schedule.
No, I completely agree with you, and I'm still kind of waiting on that news to come out. Also, like the interesting thing that I heard today, not to get ahead because we're going to talk about this later. There's no plan B. We thought like Vegas might be a plan B. It's Disney or it's nothing.
Yeah. We'll get into that later. But to get back into some of these tweets here, they said that Disney will have trained security to make sure that they said it will not report on players' movements, but they're training the security to because NBA players are high profile players, so they're basically just training their security to make sure that they're safe no matter where they go throughout the campus. Uh, Also, along the lines, they said that the security will not stop players from interacting with each other. They said that that decision will be solely based on the NBA and what the NBA wants to do about players interacting with each other. Uh, Also, according to he said, of course, another report that he has here is that that baseball, the MLS said that they will allow NBA players to visit their games if they want, and
Me
that
soccer.
oh, sorry, yeah, soccer. Sorry about that. The MLS will allow NBA players to visit their game if they want, and that they're leaving it up to the NBA to decide if the NBA play if the MLS players can visit the NBA games.
Yeah, I mean, any type of way to get these guys to get some entertainment. Like in a way, it's a staycation, sort of, because they're there to work and everything. But these guys are gonna still get the chance to interact with each other, going to pools, all the stuff we talked about last week, whether it's pools or ping pong. But they're doing the social distancing thing over there, so no double teams. um different stuff like that. So to be able to watch a soccer game, I know there's a lot of NBA fans that are avid soccer fans as well. So just ways to keep these guys' minds going, keep them from getting too bored and things like that. It makes sense.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps the MLS to trying to build their fan base to have NBA players there. I think that's definitely something that can help them out. What's interesting here to me is that Disney. I mean, at the end of the day, it is the NBA's decision, but that does not tell us what the NBA will do about player to player interaction. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of discussion recently about tampering and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see when the NBA does finally put the report out how they're going to deal with the player to player or team to player reaction in the lobbies and stuff like that, and what they're going to do about tampering.
Yeah, I mean that didn't even cross my mind though. It's crazy that hasn't crossed my mind either. But I mean, again, stuff that makes sense. Being able to recruit guys, like being in the same hotels. But I guess that's also kind of the beauty of when you're a higher seed, getting the pickings of where you're gonna stay. Um, so like for instance, I know Toronto is one of the teams rumored to be going after Giannis, and not this upcoming free agency, but the next. Once he comes in, I don't believe the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors are going to be in the same hotel. Miami, I got to check where Miami's staying at, but you never put it past executives to do it. Players, they can go and recruit these guys whenever they want because they're immune to the whole tampering thing.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that'd be interesting, players like Giannis, when the playoffs keep going, they said that the lower seeds, if they make it through, will have a chance to decide what hotel, if they want to move up to a different hotel. So even say the Miami Heat, if they end up in one of the lower seed hotels, if they end up making it further in the playoffs and maybe end up in the hotel with Giannis, it could still end up with that same situation, even if it doesn't happen now, it could happen later. So to see how the NBA deals with the tampering rules here would be very interesting. So I'm waiting for that report to come out.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, to sum up the last couple things here, they basically just put out an ending statement, basically just summing up the time that Barack Obama was there and about how happy they are to have both the NBA and MLS to stay with them, and then just the security that they had for Barack Obama back when he came there in 2012, and how they're going to use some of those same rules and techniques that they used there to keep these players safe, and just pretty much more thanking the NBA and MLS for trusting them to come there.
Yeah, and I know a Disney employee had mentioned in regards to when Barack Obama, former president of the United States, Barack Obama, uh, was actually over there, that they went through restrictions that like were unheard of at the time, and basically what these NBA players and these organizations that are going over there are going to be dealing with is along those lines. So they're taking this as seriously as possible, as they should, and it's gonna be interesting to watch.
Yeah, but in a time like this, I think that's something they definitely need to do. And also, if they can, I think actually to bring it up at the end of their statement, they said they hope this will help them build a better relationship with the NBA and MLS. To hopefully that they'll come back there for maybe a play-in tournament or something like that later on down the line. So this is definitely good for them to get out there and show that if they can get them to come back here, that they definitely can keep them safe. So this could be like a them putting on a little show for them to show that hey, you guys should definitely come back.
Yeah, absolutely.